the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. Verse 3. His delight is in the fear of the Lord. That is his joy. His joy is in the fear of the Lord. When you now look at verse 6, the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. These are the two that one would not expect. For a wolf to dwell with the lamb means there are reconciliation. Without the gospel of grace, wolf cannot dwell with lamb. There are things that just don't belong together. Good example of it is wolf and the lamb. There are things that just don't belong together. Light and darkness. There are things that just don't belong together. Lion and deer, broken home and reconciliation. Let someone say it. You see those two things, light, darkness, wolf and lamb, lion and deer. They are things that just don't belong together. A son will never call his father's murderer, quote, I quote, dear friend. A son will never call his father's murderer, dear friend. There are things that just don't belong together. The gospel of God's grace challenges and changes everything. The gospel of God's grace challenges and changes everything. To his power, nothing is impossible. The gospel of God's grace challenges and changes everything. When you take your time to read the book of Mark 11, from verse 25, hear forgiveness. Jesus clearly linked faith to forgiveness. The reason forgiveness is so important is that relationship does not involve two perfect people. There is no such thing as a perfect. Tell your neighbor. There is no such thing as a perfect. Those perfect people don't exist in this earth. Tell your neighbor, those perfect people don't exist in this planet. If you are spiritual, When someone falls, don't rejoice, restore. Tell your neighbor, if you are spiritual, when someone falls, don't rejoice, restore. Above all things, love for one another. Love does not discuss sin. The gospel of God's grace challenges and changes everything. Tell your neighbor, the right knowledge of God settles peace. Those perfect people don't exist in this earth. Tell your neighbor once again. There's no such thing as a perfect. Those perfect people don't exist in this earth. Let someone say broken home and reconciliation. People make mistakes. Even if you are a Christian, even if you are a pastor, our response to a person who makes mistakes can also be a mistake. Tell your neighbor, our response to a person who makes mistake can also be a mistake if care is not taken. Let someone say broken home and reconciliation. Our concern must be twofold. Not only what we do that is in error, but also how we respond. Tell your neighbor, our concern must be twofold. Not only what we do that is in error, but also how we respond. Our concern must be twofold. Not only what we do that is in error, but also how we respond, because you need to forgive and you need to be forgiven. Tell your neighbor, you need to forgive and you need to be forgiven.